everyone, my name is Brittany from Brittany Loves Reading, and today I have a book haul video for you. I have hauled a lot of books in the last month and a half, 2 months. I haven't put out a book haul since the beginning of October, so I've been collecting books since then, and it's been a few. A lot of these are from Book Outlet. I did a pretty large Book Outlet order for Black Friday, as well as Amazon purchases and bookstore purchases, and a few thrift store finds as well. So we've got a lot. Let's jump in and see what I've got. There are a lot of books, so I'm going to keep the synopsises very short and sweet. It's going to be a very finite synopsis because there's like 20 some books, and we don't want this video to be forever, so that's what we're gonna do. So grab a drink and let's jump into this very large stack of books. So the first set of books that I'm gonna be talking about are all from that Book Outlet order that I ordered for Black Friday. If you've been on my sprints, you know there was actually a little bit of a saga to this. The order got lost, it got resent, it's finally here. Some of these books I had ordered to put on my December TBR, but they arrived just too late for that to happen. So I had to rejig my TBR accordingly, but that's okay because I'll have them for next year holiday season. The first book that I got from Book Outlet was Good Girl, Bad Blood. This is the second book in the Good Girl's Guide to Murder series by Holly Jackson. This follows Pip. She starts a true crime podcast. I haven't read the first book, so I actually don't know exactly why, but I know this has podcast elements, and I know I'm going to be doing this along with the audiobook to get the full experience of that. I'm hoping to read the whole trilogy in the new year. I know a lot of people do not like the last book in this series, so I'm probably going to do that as a library book, but I now own the first two, and hopefully I'll be reading this sometime next year. The next book I got was Season of Chaos by Elle Cosamato. This is by the same author that writes the Finlay Donovan series. That is the only reason I picked this up. I know nothing else about it. I do think it's a YA fantasy series, but do not quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure. This is book 2 in the series. I do not have book 1, but book 2 was on Book Outlet for like $3. So $3 for a hardcover, and I know I absolutely adore the writing of Finlay Donovan, so I figured I had to give this a try. I'll have to hunt down book 1 at some point, but I now have book 2. The next book is one of the books that I did plan on reading this December, and it's just not going to happen now, but that's okay. I'll put it away for next year, and it is 8 Perfect Hours by Laya Lewis. This is about a girl named Noelle. She is on her way back to college, and she gets stranded in her car in the middle of a snowstorm. And she's stranded without food, without water, and thankfully she is saved by Sam, who is in a car nearby. He knocks on her window, and they get through the night in these cars together. And after 8 hours, they can finally start moving, the roads get cleared, and they can go. I think this sounds adorable, and I'm kind of sad that I don't think I have time for it this holiday season. If you've read this and it's not Christmas specific, but is more just like winter specific, please let me know in the comments because I might put this into a January TBR. Another one that I wanted for the holiday season was The Santa Suit by Mary Kay Andrews. This follows a woman named Ivy Perkins. She is newly divorced and decides to buy a farmhouse sight unseen. When she gets there, she finds an old vintage Santa suit in a closet upstairs, and inside the pocket is a note from a child with the only wish for Santa for Christmas is that her father comes home from the war. And this sends Ivy on a mission to kind of find out the history of the Santa suit. Did this father ever come home, and what happened around this note in this Santa suit? It sounds so magical, and it's very small, so I probably will have to hold this for next holiday season, but if I have time to squeeze it in, I might try since it's small, but my TBR for this month is quite large, so we'll see. This next book I'm very excited about, and it is Once Upon a Wardrobe by Patti Callahan. This is linked to The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which is the second Narnia book. It's my favorite Narnia book from when I was a child. So I'm very excited to read this. This follows Meg and George. They are brother and sister. George is obsessed with Narnia and where is Narnia and everything about it. So Meg reaches out to Mr. Lewis to find out where he got inspired for Narnia and to find out answers to those questions. And that's what this book follows. I'm very excited for this one, and it's definitely going to be on the top of my list for the new year. Luck of the Titanic had to go in my book outlet cart when I saw it on as part of the Black Friday sale. It's by Stacey Lee. This follows Val. She has a ticket on the Titanic, but she is turned away at the gangplank because she is Chinese and they are not allowing Chinese people onto the Titanic to go to America. So instead of giving up on her dreams to go to America, she stows away in the bottom of the Titanic. And of course, we know that the Titanic does not end well, and this follows that journey for Val. I love the Titanic. I think this idea of people being stowed away on the Titanic, so people that maybe we were unaware were even on it and maybe died or survived the sinking of the Titanic, sounds so interesting, and I can't wait to read this. The last book that I got from Book Outlet was The Christie Affair. This is a fictional story based on where did Agatha Christie go when she disappeared for about 2 weeks in the 1920s. If you didn't know, Agatha Christie found out her husband was having an affair in the 1920s and disappeared for like 2 weeks. No one knows where she went. It's a complete mystery. And this is a fictional idea of what maybe she was doing during that time. This was one of my most anticipated releases of 2021, and I never ended up with a copy. So I had to get it as part of this Black Friday sale. Okay, so let's do thrift store books and used bookstore books next. There actually is not that many of those. I have not been to the used bookstore very often in the last few months. I've been trying not to buy books. As you see, I have failed, but that's okay. I did get a couple though. I ended up getting books 4 and 5 of the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan. I really want to read this series in the new year, or at least start it. I probably won't complete it. It's very large and it's very chunky, but I really want to start it. And I just love these covers, the vintage fantasy covers. So when I saw them, they were only $1.99 each at the thrift store. They went in my cart. As you do. The other book that I got at the thrift store was I Found You by Lisa Jewell. I usually love Lisa Jewell's books. I've had the last couple haven't hit quite as well as I wanted them to, but I am still excited to read another one. This follows Alice and Lily. Alice finds a man on the beach near her home. He has no idea how he's got there, and he has no idea who he is. Lily is at home, and she is very concerned when her husband doesn't show up from a trip. So who is this man for Alice, and where is Lily's husband for Lily? And it kind of follows the two women as they figure out what is going on with this man, who I assume is Lily's husband, but maybe it's not. Maybe there's a twist there. We'll find out when I read it. This next book is not from a thrift store. It's actually from a library discard pile at my library. The other day I saw it there. It was free at the library, so I had to pick it up. And that was Sadie by Courtney Summers. I've had my eye on Sadie for a while, so getting it for free was a bonus. I need to take all the library stickers off, but I will do that. That's not a problem. Sadie follows a popular radio personality, Wes McCrae, who receives a desperate phone call from a stranger imploring him to find 19-year-old runaway Sadie Hunter. He's not convinced there's a story there. Girls goes missing all the time. But as soon as Wes' boss discovers Sadie fled home after the brutal murder of her little sister Maddie, he sees the makings of something big and orders Wes to the small town of Coal Creek, Colorado, to uncover what happened. I'm very excited to read this. I've heard so many great things about Sadie, and this is hopefully going to get read sooner rather than later. The next book I have is actually a gifted book from my dear friend Kelsey. We have a book club together, Reads with B and K, and she sent me Jackal for Christmas. I'm so thankful. This is one of Goodreads 2021 thriller mystery nominations. I had actually never heard of it until then, and I wanted to read it. I'm hoping to read all of that list throughout the year next year on my channel. So I threw this on my wish list, and she was so sweet to send it to me. The synopsis basically is, a young Black girl goes missing in the woods outside her white Rust Belt town, but she's not the first and she may not be the last. I'm very excited to read this book by Erin E. Adams. So thank you again, Kelsey, for sending this to me, and I'm very excited to read it in the new year. So the next stack of books are all books that I purchased myself at full price from various bookstores and online. The first one is my very first Book Outlet order. Yay! We have Book Outlet in Canada now. I will say I don't think I'm going to stay subscribed to Book Outlet. I do have one more credit because I forgot to cancel it. But for the first month, you could get it for $9.99, I think was the price. So it was a really good deal. After that, the price kind of goes way up for us in Canada with shipping and things, and it's still cheaper for me to go to the bookstore to buy the books. So at this point, I think it's not worth it for me, but I'll keep an eye on it and maybe change my mind later. This is The Last Party by Claire McIntosh. On New Year's Eve, Rise Lloyd has a house full of guests. On New Year's Day, Fife and Morgan has a village full of suspects. So I think this is an isolated thriller, kind of similar to The Guest List, where it's a whodunit. Someone dies at this New Year's Eve party, and we're trying to figure out who killed them. What has happened? What is going on? I loved The Guest List, so I'm excited to read this. Earlier, you heard me mention that I was reading all the 2021 Goodreads thriller and mystery nominations, and the next two books were on that list, so I bought them. They've been on my radar anyway, and now I own them. The first one is The Housemaid by Frida McMadden. This follows the housekeeper for Nina Winchester. She cooks, she cleans, she is a nanny for the daughter, and she has been trying on Nina's dresses and doing things, and she finds out a little too late that her bedroom door in the attic locks from the outside. What? That is what the synopsis says, and they lead me with that, is that this woman is locked in the attic by her employer. Things We Do in the Dark by Jennifer Hillier. The same reason the 2021 Goodreads choice, you get the point. But this one has been on my list anyway because so many people read this fall and loved it, and I needed to own it. So now I finally own it, and I can read it in the new year. So this follows Paris. She has been arrested in her bathroom, covered in blood, with her celebrity husband dead. And she knows she's going to be arrested for murder, but she is more concerned that someone from her past is going to show up and start telling some of her secrets. What could the secrets be if she's more concerned about that than the murder of her husband? I cannot wait to find out. This is also my first Jennifer Hillier, and I have heard so many amazing things about Jennifer Hillier, so that is very exciting. So this is the last book, but it is the biggest book in this entire stack. It is The Doorstop, that is Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. I need to read Priory of the Orange Tree. How I have not read Priory of the Orange Tree, I do not know. I do not know. Pris has a read-along of Priory of the Orange Tree, I think in February and March, or January and February of the new year. Don't quote me on that, which month, but it's early next year. And I knew I had to jump on that. I got a hold of the very large book because I need to read this. How have I not read Priory of the Orange Tree yet? I don't know, but now I own it, and I'm going to read it early next year, and this is happening. I also even bought the audiobook for the Black Friday sale on Audible for $5. So I am prepared to finally sit down and read this very chunky fantasy book. I'm doing it. Like the first of the year. Maybe February, but early next year, this is happening. And that is it for my book haul. Let me know which of these I should maybe start with If you're excited about any of these, if you've read any of these, let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.